Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Roddy. Are you having issues with your Scion TC transmission where you're driving it and then you have like no power, you press on the gas and then it won't go anywhere? Well, in this video I ran into that issue with my car. I just built it, just finished test driving it, and I took it on a road trip, and then the next day it have this issue. My RPMs is rising and my speed is not increasing. Check this out. See that? Right there is slipping. That means my clutches in my transmission is not engaging properly or slipping. So right now I'm going to wait. I'm gonna ride it out. See that? It's not shifting gears, so I'm going to basically see or wait until the transmission does its thing to send me a check engine light. Let's do it again. Once the check engine light is sent, then I'll know exactly what's going on with the car. So let's try to get this check engine light on. In this video, I'm going to actually go ahead and replace the transmission filter. I was watching a bunch of videos and going around the web, and nobody really did this. So I'm going to be the first one to actually go ahead, or maybe I missed the video somewhere, but I'm going to be going ahead and removing the transmission pan and replacing the filter, and then replacing the oil as well. And I hope that this solved my issue. So let's get into the video and so what we got going on. I did not create this accessible area right here in the wheel well liner. This happened because it was rubbing on the wheel. You're going to need a flat point screwdriver to remove the 6 clips that's holding on this cover. After the cover is removed, now you would have access to the bolt to refill the transmission. There's a tube in the drain plug section. I didn't bother to remove it, I just removed the oil pan altogether. So these 2 bolts right here, I would suggest that you try to remove those first before you go ahead and remove all the other bolts, because if you don't get that bolt out, then you're gonna have issues getting that later. And it doesn't make sense working on getting all the rest of the bolts and then get stuck with those 2. So do that first. The filter has been held on by 2 10 bolts. You can see how bad this oil is. It's really old and burnt. Right here you could see the solenoids that controlled all the drive modes in the transmission. These solenoids here are the main drive solenoid, and these are the solenoids I'm going to be focusing on the upcoming videos on this car. So here you can see how the solenoid sits in that section, and it's called a valve body. Go ahead and put back in the filter. Make sure that the filter can hold itself in. Like this, you know that the seal for it is not pinched and it's good to go. This hole right here inside the filter is where the transmission sucks its fluid through to filter the oil back into the transmission. Putting the seal back into the car and with the bolts is going to be a little bit difficult. So let me show you a trick that I did. Here's a quick trick whenever time installing a seal and it won't stay in place. You're going to need a little bit of silicone on certain areas, just randomly, just so that the seal could sit flush onto the pan, so this way it doesn't move around when you're putting the bolts in. Now it's ready to go in. Now, when tightening these bolts, you do not want to tighten too much, because if you do, you could damage the seal. This instant shutter fix, I'm going to add to the transmission fluid, so that this way it could free up whatever that's going on inside the transmission, especially those solenoids, so that this way, you know, everything will be more freer, and if anything, it will throw the check engine light and pop any codes more easier. I didn't really measure the amount that came out, but I estimated it and I added 7 quarts back into the car.
Something that could make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I keep chasing. I got all this potential that's deep inside of me, but they hate when you're successful cause they try to. I hope that this video helped. Now you see how to go ahead and replace the transmission filter, how to top out the fluid, and just in case if you had a high mileage Scion TC like mine, you can go ahead and actually do the service yourself. It's not hard, just take a little time. It took me probably about maybe like 30 to 40 minutes. With recording, it took me like 2 hours to do the job, because setting the camera, moving the camera, doing all these things, it did take a little time because of the camera angles and stuff like that. So I hope that this video helped. If you have any questions leave them at the bottom, and this way I'll actually see if I could answer any of those questions. The car has 152,000 miles on it, and this service should have been done around like 100,000 miles, and it wasn't. I don't think it was ever done. So I went and actually did it and tried to resolve the issue that I was having, and in the end it didn't resolve my issue. It's just that I was trying to put a band-aid on it to make sure that I fixed it, but it didn't really work as well as I wanted to. It's a little bit disappointing because, you know, usually a little quick transmission flush would solve an issue, but now we're having a bigger issue. Now, the problem I'm having is with the solenoid. So after I did this service, the solenoid actually sent me a check engine light code, and the code I got was basically this code, and it actually made its way to where, like, okay, I need a solenoid, and it's a shift solenoid. So I hope that this solenoid helps. I ordered it, waiting for it to come in. It's a little pricey for a little piece of a little thing, but once it comes in, I'll go ahead and put it in and see if that will solve my issue. And if it doesn't solve the issue, I might need a transmission, because also when I pulled the solenoid out and I was like inspecting around the inside the transmission, I was finding metal, and that is not really good. So I would have to need a transmission if this solenoid doesn't work. It's on order. Hope when it gets here I can put it in and resolve that issue. So keep fingers crossed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.